Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. And we are here for a quick edition of Afterthoughts after the show, episode 5. And so the television season is winding down, so there isn't really much to talk about. You can check out my full recaps of Bravo's new show, Invite Only Cabo, Shots Fired, and Young Love Fix My Life, Family of Lives, Part 3. So it's been so hot this past week that every time I sat down to watch TV, I ended up falling asleep on my couch. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, what's the weather like where you guys are? Because here it actually hit 100 degrees a couple of times this past week. And the last couple of days we have been getting some rain, but then that just increases the humidity and just make it feel worse than it already does. So I'm going to start off this edition of Afterthoughts with Monique's rant. Now, I know this isn't a television show, but I sat there and watched a Periscope that she did the other day that was over an hour long, and I just a few things I need to say with you, Monique. I understand what you're going through, girl, and I know what it feels like for people to try to portray you as one way and get people to think negatively about you. But you also got to learn to play the game, and this just going on and on and on and on and on about what is going on and how Oprah and Tyler and Lee Daniels treated you is really starting to make you look bad. And the more you talk and the more quiet they are, the more you look like you're losing your mind and having like a mental meltdown. And I understand your need to get your story out. So girl, as a writer, let me give you this advice. Write you a book, girl. Write tell all this in a book. Put that book out, make you some money, and whether people like what you wrote or not like what you wrote, either way you'll be getting paid. And so that would be my advice to you, Monique. But please stop with the periscopes and the interviews and all that, and just let things be what they be, because after a while you're going to end up in court where they try to get a gag order on you, and then you're probably losing friends because you were sitting there doing all this name calling on this periscope. And I know people were sitting at home going, Lord, now I called Monique and told her I supported her, but I hope she don't get on no interview, and start calling my name and putting my name in the midst of everything. So just be leery of how you're handling this situation, and make sure you don't thrust people into this situation who really want to be your friend, but they don't want to be in the spotlight as having to take sides or choose sides in what is going on. Like, I do believe that what you say happened. I just think that you're going about it the wrong way in trying to put it out there to the public. So girl, write you a book, and if you can't write, get you a ghostwriter, and if you need a ghostwriter, call me. I'm available. So next, let's move on to Real Housewives of Atlanta, the hidden footage show that they did Sunday night. I find it interesting that the most human experiences of the show end up on the cutting room floor. Like, they don't want us to see the women getting along and laughing and having a good time. And so some of the things that they cut, from the show that I thought, were interesting or fun was when they were out in Flint, when Phaedra and Kenya were in Flint at that camp, and they were out on that boat. So when we saw the episode on the show, the sun was shining, and they took the girls out, to have a tea party and to teach them how to make tea, from the tea bag in the hot water. Well, what they didn't show us was that a big rainstorm came along, and that they had to get under that table that was in the middle of the boat. And the Kenya and Phaedra didn't seem too bothered by the fact that her hair was getting wet, but Kenya was like, had this life jacket trying to cover over her head so we couldn't see her wet hair and be able to tell that she really does have trikes in her hair. And then I thought when Kenya shared her story with the kids and, really broke down and told about, her whole situation with her mom and dad and how it impacted her life, I thought that was really special, and one of a few times where I've actually liked Kenya on the show. And it was just very transparent. And when that little boy, started crying and went into her arms to cry and stuff, that was just like really touching. And then Cynthia and Peter, you know, crying over this divorce makes me wonder why they ever broke up. And then I remember that Cynthia said that when she started feeling bad about the marriage, that she couldn't stop herself. So it sounds like pride is what broke up Cynthia and Peter, not other women, not money problems, but the fact that Cynthia was too prideful to say, I want my marriage to work and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it work. Then this whole business venture with Candy marketing her son, you know, to build this multi-million-dollar empire that she's talking about. And I'm like, how does all of this make Riley feel? Because Candy doesn't seem to be trying to build an empire for her. And I would think that you would want to work harder for your daughters than you would for your sons. But either way, if you have the power to create businesses, why not create a business for all your kids and set them all up for the future? You know, instead of trying to make Riley make that stupid song that she has absolutely no interest in singing. Because I think with Riley's personality, she would do so much better being in the background opposed to you know, trying to be out front singing a song. And then, you know, with all this branding and trademarking, I had this thought also with Beyonce and Jay-Z, where they're trying to steal this company's name. There was a company that incorporated itself 3 years before Blue Ivy was even born. And now they're trying to take this company's name by trademarking Blue Ivy's name. So my thing is, what happens when you've done all this branding and trademarking and copywriting and stuff, and then the child grows up and decides to go on a different path that may also lead to fame? Like, so say Ace grows up and he becomes like this famous football player, you know, would he be prohibited from using his own name to start his own business or his own brand because his parents have already trademarked that name? Like, how does, I don't know how any of that works. And then with Candy told that story about the day when she got the car all loaded up and left the house, and then realized that she had left baby Ace at home. And I was thinking, like, see, people are always saying that they don't understand how people leave their kids in the car, but that's how it is. Like, you're so consumed and overwhelmed with all this other stuff that you're trying to do and, you know, places you gotta go, that you forget about your kids. And so it's no different to me. So then it was only fitting that the show ended with the argument in Maui. You remember when they were at the table and Candy jumped up and ran off, and so everybody else was left at the table talking. So I like the fact that Todd was trying to defend Portia, because throughout the season they kind of like act like Todd didn't have nothing to say and like he was just sitting there as Portia's puppet. But now we know that Todd actually does have a voice and that he doesn't mind speaking up to defend her. You know, and even though Portia, you know, was holding her on with Peter, you know, it was nice that he did you know, try to stand up for her. And so that whole argument and, you know, the back and forth with Portia and Peter, I thought could have added substance to the whole argument and conversation that they were having before Candy left the table, and, you know, the fact that they omitted all of that from the regular show. And so I'm still waiting for Phaedra and Portia to slip up and get caught hanging out together, because I truly believe that those two are still friends, and it's probably killing them not to be able to hang out together, but I guess they got to do, you know, what's best for the show. I know I said that I was not going to watch this show, that it was so stupid and ridiculous when I tried to watch the first 2 episodes, but I fell asleep on the couch, and when I woke up it was on, and it was on that part where Evelyn was trying to do that doggone makeover for Kristen, so I sat up and watched, you know, and paid attention, and overall this was a much better episode, so maybe I'll check out the new one that comes on Monday. But I just want to say that I thought that Evelyn was so out of order trying to do this makeover for this woman. Like, you are not friends with that woman. You don't know her well enough. You know, just because she shared with you that she'd had a miscarriage before did not give you the right to put her in a position where you embarrassed her. And I'm thinking, like, if Evelyn was going to do that, then she should have planned, like, the whole group have makeovers. And so everybody is getting a makeover together, you know, they're trying on clothes together and just making it a really fun evening, instead of having Tammy and Shawnee laying on the bed, and then, you know, Evelyn standing there with the the stylist or whatever she called herself, or whoever the other, but it was just like, she was like, Kristen was in the middle of the room, the center of attention, and everybody was watching this experiment that was about to take place, and I was just like, y'all are so out of order right now. And then I thought that the stylist was just so rude and disrespectful, and I can't believe that anybody is hiring her to come in and style them with her personality. Like, I mean, who is she working with? People that work on reality shows? Like, she cannot have clients outside of reality TV who would put up with her very negative attitude. And then I was thinking about those doggone wigs that they had, you know, and then showing them making fun, you know, trying on the wigs and making fun of them. And I'm thinking that Kristen got this long, pretty hair of her own. Like, what would make that stylist think that she was going to put on that hideous pink wig, or the one that was, it was black at the roots and blonde? Like, all those wigs look like they came out of a costume shop. So I don't know what this girl was thinking about, but that was a low blow and a wrong move, and it just went all the way left, Evelyn, and you are dead wrong for that. And then also, I think that if the criteria to be somebody's friend is that they got to, you know, wear all this makeup and, you know, weave and wigs and designer clothes, like, maybe people have other priorities and they want to do other things, you know, with their money, instead of walking around trying to put on this persona that is not true to who they are. And so, like, you may be somebody that likes to do all that, Evelyn, but maybe this girl isn't. And if you had a problem with what she wore to the winery, pull her to the side and say, you know, what you have on is really inappropriate for this evening, and, you know, make some useful suggestions. But to plan a full makeover and just single her out amongst everybody that was there, girl, that was dead wrong. And then before I move on from Basketball Wives, Malaysia, no, she was so out of order when she invited Brandy to come and meet them on this trip. There is just no justification for why she had Brandy come, and there's no justification for why Brandy showed up, unless Malaysia told her that everybody was cool with her coming. That's the only excuse she could have for why she showed up on that trip. And you can catch the full recap of this show on The View from Tracy's Point, and the link is below in the description. And so, as some of you have probably already heard, Fox has chosen not to give this show a second season. And Sanaa Lathan was in an interview, and she said that it was never meant to be a series as far as Fox were concerned. But they were hoping, you know, the people on the show, the Bythwoods and everybody else was hoping that, you know, it would be a success and that Fox would go ahead and pick it up. But she said that all along Fox contended that it was a 10-hour movie, and even when they were naming the episodes, they kept insisting that they put like hour 1, hour 2, hour 3, because they had no intentions of making it a second season. But I'm thinking that Fox was probably just yielding to the pressure of advertisers, and that this was just too sensitive of a topic, you know, for advertisers to really get behind and support. And then I was checking out the ratings for the show, and I was just really surprised that the first episode came out on March 22nd, and they had almost 5 million viewers, but then it started to drop, and then it went back up, and then it dropped significantly, because on Wednesday night, which was the second to the last episode, the viewership dipped under 3 million viewers. So I'm just wondering, is that accurate, or is that Nielsen playing around with the ratings, which they are notorious for doing? And as I have mentioned before, Nielsen has no concrete way of rating how many people are actually watching a television show. And one of the things I learned in the class that taught me that, it was a media studies class, and basically Nielsen can, so say on Wednesday night there was some other show that was coming on that was supposed to be like a new premiere or something, Nielsen could physically go into the homes of the people that have black boxes and pull those boxes out of their homes and take them and put them into homes that were more likely to watch whatever show they were hoping to boost the ratings on. So there's all kind of games that can take place with these shows and ratings. So I don't put nothing past these people, but I love Shots Fired, and I hope that, you know, BET is trying to step up their game. So maybe they'll pick it up, or maybe OWN will pick it up. Somebody please pick up the show, because it was a really good show, and I would just love to see them take it in a whole new direction for season 2. So this is another show that really forces me to stretch my imagination, but I keep watching it. And so first, how did Claire Huxtable kidnap baby Bella and think that it was okay? And then why is it that she has been able to keep baby Bella as long as she has? Because this is like the craziest plot thus far that they have come up with. And now I will admit that the little, you know, scene with Cookie and her sisters where they were breaking into the safe, I thought that was cute and fun to watch on the show. And who knew that Becky, you know, had it going on like that, that she could pull the guy when the other sister couldn't pull it. But hey, to each his own, and everybody has their, you know, thing that they like the most. So I say, go ahead on, Becky, do your thing. And then when Andre, you know, pulled the DA, I think it was that Eva Longoria playing the DA, but I thought that was interesting how, you know, he went on in there and threw that crazy love on her. So we'll see how that turned out. And I just feel that Andre's character, ever since Rhonda was killed off on the show, has just been lost and really serves no purpose or point. And I don't know, I think eventually they're going to have to write Andre out the show, or they're going to need to give him more of a dominant role on the show. But I'm thinking more than anything, they're probably going to write him out if the show continues. And then I'm thinking, you know, how much longer do you think Empire has? You know, it seems that they have gotten so far away from the premise of the show that they've lost their way altogether. So they're saying that Scandal only has one more season to go, so I wouldn't be surprised if after next season, even though a lot of people are still watching Empire, I wouldn't be surprised to see it kind of run its course in the next season or 2. Well, that's it for me. You know, about to get caught up on my guilty pleasure, Southern Charm, and do like a marathon of that tonight after invite only Cabo goes off. So I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and thanks for stopping in for another view from Tracy's Point. Take care, guys, and have a great week. Bye bye.